pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Everybody get a chance to look over the minutes of the previous.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes. I'd like to be heard first. I have an addition of the guests and citizens. Representatives from Milne Inc. presented information about the current building project for Bobcat equipment. Copies of the plans are requested for borough grant for additional use. I ask that my statements at the last meeting be incorporated into these minutes, please.
Agreed. Down the bottom by planning, Jim Marco.
I didn't see that yet. Let me see.
Get down towards the bottom.
That's satisfactory. Thank you very much.
Randy made a motion.
Second.
Craig seconded the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Bill list.
And I have two additions. Let me know you guys are ready.
Shoot.
Okay, first one is for the refrigerator payable to Randy Thorpe for $369.99. And the other one is for repair or maintenance of the police cruiser to Brown Restorations for $807 even.
What did they have to do, Chief?
Yeah, brakes, rotors,
Oh,
inspection,
yes,
make oil change.
What was the J&J security?
That was for computer repairs for the police.
And Iron Hill is just
They had
gas.
change, they had to update that, because
Oh, that's right.
he's got new computers, the cameras weren't showing up on the, on that.
Okay.
So they have-
Yeah, the software problem.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that last meeting.
I'll
Okay.
go over that.
Okay.
And Iron Hill is just the police.
Okay. In Northeast Inspection Services,
That's
654.
our, who we hired for
Yeah,
zoning and
yeah.
permits.
Okay.
The thing is, I think we need
All
to
right.
have a write-out or a report sent to us of what they do.
They do have a report that they attach with their invoice, only, I don't know who's gonna read it, because the zoning part of the meeting.
Well,
I thought we were inviting them this morning.
I don't know who was supposed to. I just feel that we need to know what we're spending $600 on.
Yeah. What's that show?
We only got charged by
What's that?
There's the 562 at the top for Northeast Inspection, and then
Oh, that one was from last month, because we didn't get it, that's like, I got it the night of the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, okay, last one.
I was under the impression that they were charging by the job.
That's not bad.
Yeah, we have here from last month, October 13th, they are charging $135 for zoning and a building, $427.95, a building permit retainer, Wayne Bank, 228 Belmont Street.
So we don't pay that, they actually pay, right?
They pay that and then
We
we
pay,
pay them, yeah.
They pay us. So that,
The permit fees come to us,
us,
yeah.
so that's not what
So what are we paying them?
We're paying them $135 for, however they figure this, however you guys, your fee structure is, a building permit retainer, and then they took off a volume discount, and then there's
What is a building permit retainer?
just says here, building permit retainer.
that's, sounds self-explanatory.
The only retainers I know are in your mouth.
All attorneys get them all the time.
So what does that mean?
Means they want a retainer to build against in the future.
Yeah, but we weren't doing that.
That wasn't discussed here
Right.
at the meeting,
No,
was it? That wasn't part of the contract.
No, it wasn't. Can I have a copy of that, Shelley, and I'll call them tomorrow? Okay. Yeah, because that definitely, they weren't gonna, they wanted to charge us a retainer, but I told them, it's Waymart, we can't afford it.
Right.
And they agreed to it at that meeting, so we'll get it. Yeah, they definitely said they were gonna do that. So,
And we have the other
I don't know if we
bill
should include that
here, yeah,
until we get it straightened out.
well, that was the last month, but that was like the October one, but the one that's on the bill list tonight, we have, $150 for zoning hours, 2.5 hours, and then they billed us for a building permit retainer, $375 next door, Zeke, 25 Brookside Road, and then an electrical permit retainer, Joe Kaplovich, Belmont Turnpike, $185. So I can give you this.
Mm-hmm. But I think maybe, let's put it off, can we put those off to the side, to table those? Yeah, and then I'll call tomorrow, for sure. We get that situated. Everybody good with that?
Is that how I would write it up? Just,
We'll table their invoice for now, yeah. Yeah, that's what they're doing, our zoning and code enforcement.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills with the 2 additions,
Randy makes a motion,
minus the
retainer,
or the whole bill,
I would say, yeah, minus the whole bill for now.
or NEIC.
Second.
Randy made a motion, Eric seconded, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion passes. Police report.
Police report, we had 49 calls for the month. 1 for disabled vehicles, 3 for assist police agencies, 2 for welfare checks, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 1 noise complaint, 1 assist motorist, 4 suspicious persons, 2 verbal traffic warnings, 4 traffic citations, 7 investigations, total of 49 calls for the month.
copy of that, and then we'll get my last one to attach it.
You may have this here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shelley, thank you. Mayor's report.
I have one thing to say, it's about us attending meetings. We have an obligation to the public when we have a meeting to be here, otherwise if we're sick or on vacation or there's an emergency, that's a different story. But we met here last week to do the budget, and only 3 of us showed up. 4 didn't show up, and 4 that didn't show up didn't call. We tried to call them, no answer. I think we have an obligation to call someone and tell them we're not coming. That's all I have. I mean, we spend money to advertise for the meeting, and we didn't have it. So now we gotta advertise again and have another meeting. And that's all I have to say.
I think if we have time at the end of this meeting in new business, we can go over the budget, correct? If you're prepared.
I think it's on the agenda.
I don't know, is it?
I think I added it tonight.
It's under budget and finance.
Oh, okay. Oh. My apologies for not missing the last week's meeting. I failed to secure babysitting. That's my responsibility, because my wife works at night.
Just bring it with you.
I offered. I don't know if we would have got much done, but it is on the agenda, and we can bring it up under new business if we have time, and everybody agrees. Okay?
Would you like to discuss the budget when you have a full council?
More than Mr. Donnie tonight.
Two
Oh, both Donnies, my apologies. Not yours.
That's just my thought.
Mhm.
Therefore.
Yeah, we do. We do. We can read through it and make any adjustments. Or
Just
leave
get
it
a
the
rough
same.
draft.
Yeah, probably not a bad
Maybe
idea.
do a rough draft at
It
least.
takes
I mean, it is November.
a lot of time to read through the complete budget.
We were here for 3 hours last month. What's another 3? We'll see what time it is under new business. Is that it, Mr. Mayor?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Zoning officers report.
I just kind of read it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a report, but,
Okay. I guess we could ask, I wonder if they can generate a report monthly. Right. I'll make a note.
Hey, how about inviting,
Okay.
straighten out what they're supposed to do and what we're paying for?
Okay. That's a good idea. Okay. Solicitor's report.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Correspondence?
I have a couple of things. This is from WEDCO, Wayne Economic Development Corporation. To the Borough Council, please join us for a special luncheon to honor our 2022 Innovator of the Year, Sutton East Corporation, and welcome guest speaker Kelly Lewis of Lewis Strategic. The luncheon is scheduled for Friday, November 18th at Settlers Inn in Hawley. I wasn't quick too. The cost of the luncheon is $45, and reservations by Tuesday, November 15th. And there is a RSVP registration form here. This was received, this is as part of the Department of Corrections Emergency Preparedness Policy. It is necessary for us to review our mutual aid agreements annually. This is accomplished by the utilization of non-binding letters of intent between local agencies in our institution. If the attached letter of intent meets with your approval, please sign and return the document in the enclosed postpaid envelope. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your support and assistance in the past and look forward to a continued alliance. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact SEI Waymart's Critical Incident Manager, Lieutenant Dennis Cush. I'm sorry, I should have said that it was from the Department of Corrections. So it's a non-binding letter, so I'm not sure. Go to.
That's a yearly agreement that we have.
When I mail it, Billy, and I'll put the correct address.
So do we have to vote on this?
I would. Our solicitor always says, when in doubt. vote.
Yeah.
When in doubt, vote.
Do we have to sign this? Make a motion?
Make a motion to enter into a non-binding agreement
Yeah, no.
Lily, can you explain it since?
It's an agreement with the Department of Corrections in case of an emergency, that they would be able to use this building, that they would be able to go to the fire company and use their facilities to set up just to incorporate us in their emergency plan.
Like a comm center, if they had to use it
Yes,
as a comm center.
this would be the place that they would congregate.
Just like in 2006, when we had all 4 bridges were underwater, our emergency group went up and met at Farview, and they gave us the rooms up there if we needed there. It's the same thing, mutual aid. And also, the Door Lodge is considered as a place that,
And R.D. Wilson. also.
they're both
Thank you.
considered, and that's one of our emergency.
Thank you, Lillian.
management. Right.
You're welcome, Jane.
I'll stand up. There's no detail in this whatsoever. I don't know if it's in something else that we have. If
What
we
was the
have a
pay?
record, it just says that the undersigned Waymart Borough agrees to allow the state correctional institution at Waymart, Wayne County to use its facilities, period. This letter of intent does not imply any contract between the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections and the undersigned. Pennsylvania Department of Corrections agrees to pay the undersigned the standard rate for billable services for use of its facilities. So that's wide open. Anything that the borough has, we're giving them permission to use, but it's freely revocable.
The original is probably way back in the minutes.
Is this every year they send us?
Every-
Yes, they send it every year.
I can't think of anything negative with it.
Okay. Greg made a motion. Randy seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion passes. Guests and citizens. Let's see, is there anybody on that?
Nobody signed.
Okay. Budget and finance. Borough budget, we'll flop that down to new business. Good. Streets and roads. So I met with Leroy. We need to get some anti-skid, a couple parts for the plow trucks. Anti-skid quotes, we got 3 of them. Atkinson Quarry out in Hawley for this is all for a 22-ton load, delivered to the borough building. Atkinson Quarry was $605 per load. Henshaw was $495 per load. And Leeward Quarry was $390.94. That's for a 22-ton load of PennDOT approved anti-skid.
Question.
Sure,
Do any of them, are they under co-stars?
I didn't ask.
Under what, Jane?
Co-stars, the contract with the state.
Oh, okay.
You're talking anti-skid, are this in bags?
No, triaxle load, a 22-ton triaxle load.
We're gonna put it out in the weather? It's
Yeah.
able to survive? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's the way Leroy
cinders?
does it for now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not cinders. It's quarter-inch minus. It's quarter-inch stone, basically size. Anti-skid. It's what PennDOT puts out.
It's that little teeny tiny stone.
Yeah, he makes his salt with it. Leroy does. Put a scoop in the truck, throw some salt on top of it.
But we need that even though we
Yeah.
have cinders?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what he used last year. That's primarily what he uses.
We've been using that for the last 2 or 3 years. Cinders are not gritty enough.
What was the third one on the list?
Leeward Quarry was $390.94 delivered. Right.
In order for us to pay for that through liquid fuels, it has to say anti-skid.
Yep. Anti-skid commercial.
What was the first one? I'm sorry.
Hawley Quarry, it's Atkinson Quarry.
Okay. How much was it?
$605
Okay, thank you.
per load.
I spent a lot of time today on the phone with the co-stars,
Mhm.
and we need to be aware of their programs because they negotiate for the lowest price. I'm not saying these aren't the lowest price, but we should ask any vendor in the future if they're a member of CoStarz,
Mhm.
of which there's hundreds of vendors.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if one or all of them don't belong to it.
Do we need a motion?
I think so. Yeah, so, that's per load, so we don't really know what the winter is gonna bring. So, we should, okay, maybe 2 or 3 loads. We'll get 1 for now.
At least.
Yeah, I would say, I think
One
we would
road
say,
doesn't go very far.
yeah, right.
What they used last year.
I think he said 3. 3 or 4. Because plus he does have.
I think we should chop on only because of fuel prices.
Yeah,
It ain't gonna go down.
no.
Do they include anything?
Oh, there's the right. 3 loads?
Three last year, and about 85% of that's gone. That's being cut with sand, with cinders.
I think we should get at least 3 then.
Mhm.
It ain't gonna go back.
No,
Yeah, that's what I was
You know.
right. Well, not a small storm. We went through 3 loads, so 66 tons.
I'll make a motion to, have Lee work, Corey supply us 3 loads, anti-skid.
Second.
Randy made a motion for 3 loads of anti-skid. Greg seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion passes for anti-skid.
3 loads, right?
3 loads. So, do you want to talk about this new rate?
You bring it up and any questions I'll answer.
Okay.
We'll work together on it.
So, the number 1 right now is the spreader motor. The spreader motor on the spreader is weak.
The spinner motor is getting weak, so I'd like to replace that.
Just keep the existing spreader motor as a spare, put a new one on it, so we don't have any issues. Bonhams came in at $385.85. Powell's didn't return the call. Seems like a pretty good price. Huh?
Anything else?
Yes. So, just safety equipment on a light bar.
Rear light bar for the spreader, just so we have more lighting in the rear of the truck.
Prices came in $600 at Bonhams.
No,
Powell's was $629.
No, the other way around. Paul's is 600, Bonham's is 629.
There you go, from the man himself. That's the second. And the bed liner is just rusty and getting weakened. To get it installed.
It's just a plastic liner to put in the bed to help preserve it, help the material slide out a lot easier. We got 1 quote on there from Bonham's, $2,500 installed. I'm looking into other options to get material directly from the company and themselves. So
It was about $450 for the sheet.
that's one place, and I looked up the shipping. They don't ship there.
Wow.
There's no option, so I found a couple other places I have to call for estimates.
Okay.
So I'll be able to work on that tomorrow. It's pretty simple, but
Just from now on, every time, ask if the members of CoStarz.
Okay.
That's what the fuel thing, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just
That
that.
light bar, Leroy, is that just like an off-road light bar?
no, that's a buyer's product. It's DOT certified stainless steel light bar for the rear of the truck. Like most of your PennDOT trucks have hanging on the back, this is a smaller version for the municipal trucks.
More industrial,
Yeah.
like a standard,
It's not
ATV, like what?
a $100 Amazon little light bar.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was like, $600. What is it?
Yeah.
It's heavy stainless body with DOT lighting in it. It has reverse, turn signals, braking, and marker lights. So, make life a little easier.
That's installed.
It comes as a bar, pretty much just hanging on. So that's the price of it, is the price of it. Yeah. However it gets installed, I put it on, it doesn't really matter.
So we'll start with the spreader motor. I think that's probably the most important, for sure. Yeah. Right. honestly, the light bar really needs it. I mean, it's not an easy task. Just for sure.
Yep. It's never bright out when you see it.
No. It's always 2 o'clock in the morning, no matter what.
And this is all the liquid fuel stuff, right? So I got a motion for a new spreader motor from Bottoms and a new light bar from Bottoms. I'm gonna hold off on the bed liner then, so get some
Yeah, I'll get some research
shot
on
around
it.
on it.
Right on.
I'll second.
Craig made a motion to purchase spreader motor from Bonhams, a light bar for Bonhams. Randy seconded it. All in favor?
Alright.
Nays? Motion passes. Anything else, Leroy?
The only other thing that I was looking at for the truck is a
Oh, the camera.
dash camera that covers front, rear, and can also be wired for side cameras. One, to see the load in the bed. Two, to watch traffic behind us, and God forbid any accidents or incidents occur, that way it's recorded. And a rooftop mount spotlight for ditch inspection and or help with plowing in the middle of the night when it's drifting heavy. The biggest thing is, you get down some of those, like down by Spawn, that snow will blow right up over top of the plow light, you can't see where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a little bit higher lighting, it would be helpful.
You have the cost on this, Leroy?
Right there in my estimate.
Oh, right in front of me. Yeah.
That's installed.
Oh, okay, so the remote spotlight, front and rear camera installed, it was $515. The remote spotlight, front and rear camera, and labor.
That's recordable with the monitor in it.
How does it, what does it keep it on?
SD card.
SD card?
Yeah. So I mean, just in case
Anything for safety,
if any incidents come up, at least we're covered.
Is that with an SD card? You gotta get that separate? Wonder if it
I
comes
don't
with it.
know if it comes with one or not. I mean,
Yeah, that's cheap.
that's something I can cover. That's not that
Yeah.
big a deal.
That's
That's minor.
515 with the camera and the light bar.
Everything installed.
Light bar with the
That's the remote spotlight,
spotlight.
front and rear camera, and labor. Any thoughts?
Fuels item, so, I mean, we have, 13,000, I think?
Maybe it's
And
16.
anything for safety, I make a motion.
I think the camera's very
that we
good.
buy the camera and the
16,000.
light.
Yeah.
Jane made a motion to buy the camera, the light, and labor to install safety equipment on the plow truck. Second?
Second.
Craig seconded it. All in favor? Nays? Motion passes to buy the safety equipment.
Christmas in November.
Yeah.
For the truck, not me.
Yeah.
No.
Probably not a bad idea, especially for safety. So the last thing I had was the water on Carbondale Road, which seemed to dry up.
Why is that?
It did and it didn't.
Yeah?
Yeah, one day it was there, the next day it wasn't there.
And it's just one spot in his driveway.
Well-
Did Aqua ever say anything?
It came, I had Kathy and Jack Millard
Mm-hmm.
explore it, and they said that it's the sump pump. And they're bumping it right out into the road, and so now, what they're trying to do is not send it out every day. So in other words, there's no ditch for them to send it to.
Right.
Like I didn't have a ditch with my sump pump, and I had to go all the way across the backyard and under the street to get to a.
It's been, looks good. I went up there all week.
Yeah,
I checked it out today. It's dry.
yeah, I did too.
Okay. That's all I have today.
The only problem is in the wintertime, if they discharge in the winter, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's no worse than the issue 100 feet up the road on PennDOT's Road. There's no ditch at all, and everything just drains.
I know.
Yeah, after they paved it, it lasted for 6 months. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They didn't do anything, they paved it, and didn't do anything to resolve the water issue. What else is there? But that's all I have. Parks and Recreation, Craig?
Alright, well, I got a quote from the camera guy in front of you.
Oh, yes, there's some reason, first of all, come back from. The next one.
Alright, I met with Joe Weber
The other right away.
last couple weeks ago. Cameras are up and running at the park. They were never really down. They just couldn't get them in the, they couldn't see it in the police department office. But everything's up and running. It's a 12 days. Yes, 12-day memory on there.
Oh, that's it?
12 days. That's on there. But it's broke down by the minute too, so that's just good.
Oh, okay.
Set up some Grimm's building. Now the officers can see in their building, or in the police department now. They got their software update and everything else that they needed. And got a quote for $24.95 to put cameras on this building, and $24.95 for the what do you call it?
The park? Oh, garage?
The ambulance
The garage
building?
has cameras on it.
Oh, okay.
For
How about the
the
ambulance?
baseball park, I'm sorry.
The ambulance building?
No, I didn't do the ambulance
How
building.
about the garage?
Garage has cameras on it already.
Do they work? Where do they go to?
They work, and,
2 of them
Yeah, where do they go to?
inside the office in there, on a loop system.
On a loop system, how long is the loop?
No, I've never really checked. I think it does a couple weeks.
So a couple weeks, then it just reverses itself and,
Right. I'm not 100% sure how, I've never really looked at it that much to see how far back it goes.
have you ever had any vandalism back there at the garage?
Where's the cameras?
Other people dumping stuff, dropping stuff off nonchalantly.
Oh, I see people go down the riverbed all the time
Right.
with stuff.
They only cover the front 2 corners of that building. The one in the rear hasn't worked since I've been here.
just the front ones though.
Correct.
Well, let's get the ribbon fixed.
Or add 2 rear ones so we can at least look at it.
Who installed those, do you know? It wasn't Weber.
No, it's a long time
They're
ago.
ancient.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
old. They're real old.
I thought they were
I
done
would
now,
say
to be
they're at
honest
least
with
10 years old.
So it'd probably be the same price if we did that for him also.
So would it all be on one system? If we did it all?
We have to have Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and then it would be the thing, so we'd be able to have it here at the borough building because we have Wi-Fi. Alright,
How long before the grant?
probably the garage,
Garage has a phone line.
right,
Wi-Fi.
that would have to be self-contained, and just like at the baseball field, that'd have to be self-contained, kinda like they have in Grimm's building. It would be, you wouldn't be able to see from anywhere but the monitor, because you have to have Wi-Fi for it.
Yep.
And he suggested put the monitor and stuff upstairs in the attic in that baseball field, so they would see, have everything right there, self-contained, and it'd be in the garage, self-contained. So then you wouldn't have to have Wi-Fi here, and you can see everything remotely. You know,
Okay.
but pretty straightforward. It's 24, everything's pretty much $2,500, and honestly, thought it'd be more. It really wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't know what you guys want to do about it. Chew on it for a while or what, but I think you should have at least a borough building.
Yeah.
I mean, $2,500, and like I said, it's 11 days.
Well, and the concession stand, because we've had issues there.
Ah, that's right. I forgot
We've
about
had
the
to go for
concession stand.
months.
And he's, yeah, like I said, and he said to keep that monitor and stuff upstairs in that concession stand. That way it'd be out of everybody's way and people won't be touching it and everything else when there's business going on there, you know.
So it's
Yeah,
gonna be
I saw that online.
$49.
I'm sorry?
It's gonna be like $4,900 altogether, or is it $24.95
For each building. Yeah,
Is that your American Rescue?
$24.95 for this building and $24 in the back. There's a
They didn't ask me about it, no, I don't want anything
Is
about
that
it.
okay that there's no heat in that building?
I didn't say anything about that. I mean,
Yeah, that was.
Who's the quote from? J&J.
Jay Weber. He's the one that put the cameras up in the park.
So will that go to the computer here in the building?
The only one will is this one and the one in the park, because they have Wi-Fi. Those other ones are gonna be self-contained in the building themselves. So if something happened at the concession stand, you go upstairs and look at the cameras, and it holds 11 days.
11 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so
So it just
yeah,
automatically expires.
yeah, then,
Same ones that come back here, just 11 days.
yeah, right. You know,
But he would be able to load that on a computer here at one of the park.
yeah, well, actually, it has its own monitor,
Right.
like the one in
Yeah.
Robbie's house. It has a monitor right there. You know, you can look at the pictures of it right there. You know, so that would be the same setup at the concession stand. It just has a little TV monitor and everything's self-contained right there.
And you can download off of that.
Yeah,
I think there's SD card or, not SD card, but, flash drive.
yeah.
You can
Yeah.
plug
Download it to
plug
your
right in
phone,
and download
move on, any one of those.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can put it right in here.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the American Rescue Plan? Ken?
No, as far as I'm concerned, it would fit under there. I don't see why not, you know?
And that's what we have right now, is the,
So you can have a live feed, you could have a live feed from here, it'd be this building and the park. Because he put it on my phone, I can see that. park on
I
my
think it's
phone.
important that we have somebody designated that checks on it once in a while. That's always been the problem with the park.
You can download to every one of our phones.
Okay, but you just need to know you're gonna be sitting there watching 24 hours of nothing, waiting for something to happen.
I mean, in the event something happens.
Yeah, isn't it better that something happens or you get a complaint and then you go look
Yeah.
for it?
Right.
We need to check to make sure it's working, you know, once.
Well, at the park I have on my phone,
Yeah.
I can see that. And you're right, I do. And it's really clear, I'm very surprised by it.
It's like Tim looking for
the
See the
bear
cars
in our
coming
house.
by.
Yeah.
The bear.
Craig,
Yeah.
Is the
I have a
12
question to ask you about them. Are you able to see the street?
What's that?
Are you able to see the street?
Yes.
Someone had an excavator stolen from their property.
Yep, I was in contact with him today.
Okay.
He posted that, and
Okay.
I told him to have camera access, and told him he was supposed to meet with the chief actually today.
Okay.
Told him to come over.
Yeah, I had sent him a private message and
Yeah.
told him to call borough police and ask them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I didn't know
told
if he
him-
did or not.
I told him there would be somebody in the police department
Okay.
today, so he's supposed to come over tonight. Okay.
Good.
So you would be able to view, like I said, here in the park on your phone at all times, the ball field, the garage. You wouldn't, because we wouldn't have Wi-Fi to it, but it would be self-contained up in the attic. So if something happened on the weekend, at least we'd have something, you know.
Did Joe look at the system on the garage? Like, because Leroy said.
Well, yeah, 'cause that's why we were looking at it. We were looking at it, like, oh, I didn't realize, because, I don't know, somebody mentioned here about the garage. Maybe it was Jane mentioned about the garage, and we went over and looked at it, and
Yeah.
there's cameras here. And we thought they were fake, but they're.
Yeah, they're clear about.
There was nothing in the back.
They're clear about 10 feet from the garage.
Yeah.
As far as facial features.
But this system is very clear. I'm very surprised how clear it is, to be honest with you. It's like that grain garbage you see in
Yeah.
at a bank.
Yeah, right.
You know, so. And I'm pretty sure it'll be the same price, $2,500. I mean, I can call them $24.95 to do the garage too. Have them do that and be a self-contained thing, you know. But
Any thoughts?
you know, 4 cameras, 1 on each corner.
Right.
You know, all covers, so. You know,
Oh, one concern was the 12-day thing. Is that adjustable at all? Is it just
I don't think so because of
No.
memory.
probably because of clarity, and it probably does a lot of frames per minute or whatever, and it needs the memory. Yeah.
Well, something changes
Good
in
system.
11 days. I mean,
Yeah,
it's more
Okay.
preventative than, you know,
for sure.
like the vandalism or anything like that. You know.
Is there like a monthly upkeep charge or an annual? This is just it.
No, this is it. I mean, I guess if there's a software problem, like we had on the bill the other day,
Oh,
probably that was it.
yeah, okay.
You know.
So the American Rescue money, the 77 is what we have left? Jane?
Yes,
Is that what it is?
it isn't that, but I'll have to check tomorrow. out to Paul Harris, the company.
Oh, okay, 'cause we own
Administrative.
Chef
But I feel there's no reason that they wouldn't agree to it. But you have to, you're bound to have to check with this guy every time that, the CA. And, nothing is to get past them.
In fact, I have to make a point. The $24.95 would be the same price of the garage, because the original quote was with the garage. And I had to take it off because the cameras were there. All right, but
What if we went with all three? Think you'd give us a break?
doesn't have to ask,
Yeah.
Should
we sit on it?
Well, actually, all three it was the same price for all three.
Yeah.
Because the original quote had this building, the garage, and the vending machine. They were all the same price for all three. So, like I said, I had to take off the garage because there was cameras on there, right? So I figured they're working, they're fine, but they don't all work that great.
You can see vehicles pull in or pull out, but you really can't get any, other than the type of vehicle, you can't get any facial recognition and or any sort
No
of
plate or
plate or
nothing like
nothing
that.
now.
So it needs to be updated anyway, so. It's
So
$24.95 three times then, three buildings.
So roughly 7,500.
Yeah.
We can make a tentative, not a tentative motion, but a motion to tentatively award it to him. And if he would ask, and if we can knock off a couple $100.
I'll call him, find out, and,
Does anybody, any thoughts on that?
I don't think it's tentative, you're either in or you're out of the
Yeah.
contract. Once
Well,
you accept his terms,
Make the motion
you're in.
on the tentative price,
up to, how's that?
up to 7,500, yeah.
And
See
then
if
if
he
he
can-
knocks some off.
Yeah,
How's that? So, let's do it. 745. All right, I make a motion to hire Joe Weber camera systems for the borough building, the maintenance shed, and the ballpark concession stand for a grand total $7,485. Include 4 cameras, the monitor, battery backup, import, NVR, whatever that might be. That includes labor, app install on phone if you want it. It's up to you guys. That would be at all 3 places.
Craig made a motion, you get a second? I'll second. Randy seconded the motion. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion passes to hire J&J Security for cameras on all buildings. Security cameras.
Can I just say the total was?
$10,485.
It would be
Yes. $7,485.
not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
So these $24.95, is that with tax or without?
I don't know. I'll have to ask them.
We shouldn't have to pay the tax.
You're right.
Okay. So maybe we'll get a check. I'll have to show it. I'll check for half.
Yeah, he wants 50%. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what his time frame is, and I don't know about access to the. I'll work that out. Don't worry about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
That's all.
Next. Utilities, Don Miller. Not present. Safety, Darren Howell.
Nothing to report.
Thanks, Darren. Purchasing and building.
We purchased new lights inside and out. I haven't received the bill. I called 3 times to get an invoice and nothing.
Yeah, all the dead bugs are gone.
Thank you, Randy.
What was it, the one in the kitchen and then the one in the back
Well,
door?
these were all humming, so I don't know if
Oh.
you replace bulbs, fix these
Yeah,
bills,
they-
I'll take care of
They
it.
were humming terrible.
Yeah,
Of course,
they were all going bad.
Mhm.
And the motion light is wonderful,
Mm.
so I can actually see it go down the
And
stairs.
there's no bill as of yet.
Cool, good. We'll take it.
Mark Evans,
Thanks, Randy.
that's it.
Planning, Jane.
All right, Bob Kett of Wayne County. Sit back, it's a 4-page letter. Dear Borough Council members, as requirements of Section 502 of Act 247 of the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code, we have reviewed the above referenced land development located along US Route 6. The Code of Ordinances of Borough of Waymart, Chapter 22 and Chapter 27 were used as the regulatory basis for our review. Our review produced the following comments. 1. This plan was submitted as a preliminary land development plan according to the cover letter. As such, according to the definitions of Chapter 22, Part 6, subdivision and land development of your code, a major subdivision is any subdivision of land development. This is not a minor subdivision. Don't ask me this stuff. Or a land development designed to accompany commercial and industrial uses. Therefore, since this application proposes the construction of a commercial facility, it would be considered a major application according to your code. Major applications are typically processed in 2 steps. The first step is a preliminary plan, which upon approval affords to the developer the right to proceed with the installation of necessary improvements. The second step is final approval, which follows either the installation of the required improvements or the financial guarantee of those improvements. For our purposes, we will only need to conduct a single review of this application, unless it is warranted or requested by the borough. At this time, we have reviewed both the preliminary and final plan requirements of your code together with the applicable zoning regulations in Chapter 27. The borough should consult with its planning commission, solicitor, and engineer if necessary, if you decide the best manner to process this proposed land development. 2, zoning district. According to the Waymart Borough zoning map, this proposed commercial facility is located in the CG Commercial General Zoning District. It is specified in the CG zoning district that vehicle and equipment sales operations are considered a conditional use. Therefore, this proposal to establish the commercial operation depicted on the plan should be processed as such, according to procedures listed in Section 610 of Chapter 27 of your code. 3, the subject parcels are transected by a sewer line easement and a water line easement. Sections 204 of Chapter 22 of your code requires respectively both deed references and, among other items, utility rights-of-way. The water and sewer lines are illustrated on the submitted plan as required with apparent easement right-of-way widths. However, it would be appropriate for the easements right-of-way to be labeled with the respective deed references, and they have done that. 4, the boundaries of this site are depicted as required by Section 204 of Chapter 22 of your code. However, it is noted on Plan Sheet C and C1 that the gross area of the site is 6.34 acres, and the total land coverage is 3.26. Additionally, the PCSM narrative refers to a 6.34 acre property. These figures are derived from the parent acreage combination of both adjoining parcels owned by the applicant. There is, however, no intent conveyed on this plan to combine these existing parcels. Since all improvements are cited on one parcel, in other words, they're suggesting that be put together in one, which makes sense, into one. It is unclear why the area and lot are represented in this manner. If there's any intent to combine the existing lots into a single parcel, that intent should be clearly noted and represented on the plan. And I did talk to Mr. Reese about that. Otherwise, it would seem appropriate to represent the area and lot coverage on the plan based solely on the parcel. Section 5, number 5, Section 204 of Chapter 22 of your code requires the subdivider to present a letter from each utility company servicing the area, including the utility company is aware of and will provide service to the proposed subdivision. We did not receive any copies of the correspondence from the utility company stating they are able to provide services. These letters can be important since they at times highlight potential hurdles or additional necessary construction needs and easements and potential costs associated with making any utility connections available to the proposed facility. I talked to Mr. Reese, he's taking care of that, and he will have letters for all that. Number 6, on the cover sheet of the submitted plan, an approvable block is provided for the Waymart Borough Planning Commission, since that's me. Since the Waymart Borough Council is the authority with jurisdiction to approve or deny the application, this title block should be amended to reflect that. A block could also be provided to allow for the Waymart Borough Planning Commission to recommend approval to the Waymart Borough Council. Section 7. Section 309, 16A of Chapter 22 of your code requires, quote, no driveway, street, or drainage facility or structure shall be constructed or altered within a state right-of-way, and no drainage facility of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation shall be altered or connected unto without first obtaining a permit from PennDOT, unquote. In addition, Section 204 and 206 of Chapter 22 of your code require a permit for access to a state highway. It is indicated on Plan Sheet NC1 that a highway occupancy permit is required, but the status of this permit is not indicated. As approved, permit from PennDOT may be important in this instance, since it will ensure that there are no problems with the chosen access, site, drainage, or other potential issues that could arise from constructing an access to US Route 6 at this location. And I also talked to him about that, and he said they do have an occupancy permit. Number 8, with respect to parking, we have the following comments. A, the submitted plan illustrates proposed parking for employees and customers and details what is required versus what is provided on Plan Sheet NC1. Your engineer shall review the plan to ensure the amount of parking is adequate for the proposed use. B, Section 410 of Chapter 27 of your code requires a specific area for loading and unloading to be provided. The submitted plan does not illustrate a defined area for this purpose. An area should be provided and shown to illustrate that the loading, unloading of merchandise will not result in unsafe conditions for the public or result in negative impacts to parking and the flow of traffic. C, it should be ensured that the proposed lighting is directed away from any adjoining properties and the public right-of-way of US Route 6, as Section 410(4) of Chapter 27 of your code requires. D, with respect to the parking area and access in general, your engineer should review the plans to ensure the design and the proposed construction of these features is compliant with any applicable standards of your code. 9, it is noted on the plan that a business signage is proposed. It should be ensured that the installation of any proposed signage is compliant with Section 410 of Chapter 27 of your code. 10, they haven't submitted that yet, the permit yet for that. 10, as noted earlier, our office will only need to conduct one review of this proposed plan. However, with respect to preliminary and final plans, as they relate to any improvements, we note the following. A, Section 205 of Chapter 22 of your code contains the requirements for guarantee of improvements if necessary. You consult with your engineer and or solicitor as necessary with respect to improvements and any potential financial guarantees. B, Section 206 of Chapter 22 of your code requires for the final plan, quote, a certificate signed by the project engineer indicating that all improvements have either been installed and approved by the proper officials or agencies, or that are guaranteed an amount satisfactory to the borough engineer and sufficient to ensure their installation has been submitted to the borough. C, Section 206 and J of that Chapter 22 of your code requires the submission of final construction plans that illustrate the installation of the respective utility lines. 11, with this plan submission, our office received a post-construction stormwater management plan. Additionally, stormwater management facilities are illustrated on the submitted plan itself, and specifically plan sheets PCSM 1 through PSM 4. Your borough engineer should review the plan and correspond stormwater management information in order to assure the proposal is compliant with stormwater management ordinance. 12, the submitted plan depicts erosion and sedimentary control methods on plan sheets E and S 1 through 4. If not already done, this plan should be submitted to the Wayne Conservation District for review and comment. Correspondence should be received from the Wayne County Conservation District to plan approval and any earth disturbances at the site. Page 4.
You need to take a drink?
Thank you. In closing, Waymart is a borough that has a long historic past that also has a lasting small town rural charm. This proposal not only presents an opportunity for economic prosperity for the developer, but it also presents an opportunity for the proposed business to integrate with the existing community and enhance the local heritage through its building and site design. There were no proposed building renderings with this submittal, but we encourage the developer to work with the borough with respect to context-sensitive design and using materials, perhaps such as wood and stone, in addition to historic period lighting and signage instead of typical big box cookie-cutter proposals. A future commercial store that reflects and complements the local character of Waymart and the surrounding area in general should be a welcome addition and will also promote similar future developmental design. In addition, the submitted plans do not illustrate any proposed landscaping for the site. An opportunity exists both to provide an aesthetic addition with traditional landscaping elements, but beyond that, properly designed and construction landscaping, which could also provide a benefit by aiding in the management of stormwater through incorporation of features such as rain gardens and other similar features. Our comments, together with the comments of others reviewing this plan, are provided to assist with your decision of the land development proposal. Please contact our office if you have any questions. Sincerely, Christopher J. Barrett, Assistant Director of the Wayne County Planning Commission. So I would like to recommend that we hire, for those 2 questions that are in here, an engineer to go over those 2 things that they had questions about. And I have left 3 messages for Jeff Weinberger, and he's never answered me back.
Let's talk to me the other day.
He didn't want to talk to me for some reason.
I don't know what. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Wayne County.
A lot of work to be overseen there.
It sure is. So when they say your engineer, they're referring to the borough's engineer.
Yes, they're asking that we have an engineer go over those 2 sections that they were concerned about. If you remember from this long thing.
Well, parking was one of them.
And then as far as the recommendations on the lighting and the trees and plants.
Well, we can put that in our little final stipulation to
Okay.
them. And landscaping too, we can put that in, which we've done before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, requiring that they put so many trees in and so forth and so on.
And we don't have a whole heck of a lot of time left, right? 'Cause the clock started ticking last month.
No, we've got it. A certificate that has to be signed by the project engineer, so we need to have somebody on board, even if he just considers these 2 things, that they guarantee of improvements and the final construction plans.
My recommendation is that you have an engineer review that entire letter and let them determine what needs to be done.
Okay, well, I can talk to Mr. Weinberg. You know what? Actually, he broke his hand. That's why I talked
Oh,
to him.
did you? How did
Yeah.
you break his hand?
Cutting a tree down.
Oh!
Yeah, broke something.
See.
Yeah. So maybe that's why he didn't. But anyway, I'm not making excuses for him. So,
I like Jeff very much.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, please tell me tonight if you're going to do it or not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't ask me back.
Yeah, if I could, then I can approach him.
But we need to have somebody to.
Do you want me to go make copies of that letter?
Sure.
Who's gonna make decisions on what the borough is looking for with their building
Me.
to go along with our historic,
I guess all we can do is make recommendations, right? It's not like,
No, it's yeah. It's almost 90%.
conditional
Yeah.
use, which means you can put conditions on it.
right, okay.
So somebody would have to be able to make that decision of what conditions you're gonna put on. What you want the outside of the building to look like, what you want the lights to be, what you want the landscaping to be, things like that.
Yes, he said that specifically there, that we could, to work with him.
So my question is, who's gonna do that?
But we don't even know if it's proposed, right? For facade?
But we haven't seen their
Right.
building plans yet,
Okay.
so we don't know.
So maybe you wanna give them an idea what you're looking for before they do the plans.
He and I have gone over this whole thing, and he knows exactly what's in this letter. He got a copy of the letter too.
Their engineer?
Yes,
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
design, the
Yeah.
architect engineer?
so he knows what we're looking for.
What are we looking for? And who made that decision?
Is that stuff that you already talked to him about, the facade and the?
Well, I mentioned the
recommendations.
paragraph, and I said how that was such a nice paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, when you bring the building plans and what you're doing, and decide, then we will have stipulations, and he knows that.
So there's still a whole other step for them to bring in?
Yes.
To show us what
Their plans.
okay.
But
Okay.
this was just a preliminary site plan.
So as of right now, we just need to make a motion to hire Jeff Weinberger to do a letter.
Yeah, I'll give him a copy of the letter, and he can read it, but then he'll see the two sections that are referred to the
Right.
engineer.
Okay.
He can read.
A lot of stuff cited in there, a lot of regulations cited in there.
As far as the PennDOT regulations, we have no,
No,
we have no, we can't oversee any of that because they have their own.
but see, we do have a very good ordinance with very good codes in it, of which he cited over and over again in this letter. If you each want a copy of the letter and study the letter, that's fine. And so, as long as it meets our stipulations in the code,
As far as the setbacks, the look.
yes, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And like, for instance, the sign, we're the only municipality that only requires 40 square feet. Because we don't want those big, huge signs all over the borough.
And NEIC would oversee the building codes as far as handicap and ADA.
I'm good, thank you.
So are you gonna talk to Jeff then, Jane?
I want to talk to him.
Oh, okay, well, if he doesn't, I'll call him.
I went up to his house and sat in his driveway,
Stop.
and he never,
Now
I
she's
stalked
stalking
him,
him.
and he never came out of the house, and I didn't want to.
So we'll make so we need a motion right now to hire Jeff.
I'm still one of these people he tells Miss Barker, you know.
Yeah, well,
But I really have faith in him, and he does a good job. And he doesn't overcharge.
no, he's fair.
He's fair.
So can we get a motion to hire Jeff Weinberg?
Well, how can we do that without his agreement to it?
Strong arm. He's only got one arm.
He hasn't got a leg to stand on.
I motion to hire an engineer for this specific purpose. And just leave it at that, and then move on forward. I make that a motion.
Second. Sorry.
Jane makes a motion to hire an engineer. Craig seconded it. All in favor? I guess maybe we should wait for Randy to come back.
Do you want to call him right now? I got him on my phone. in school. What a nice kid he was. Maybe I intimidated kids like that.
I thought Teresa was nice too.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. People's memories fade.
It's
Okay, I got broad shoulders.
I love all my kids, but
I'd rather you say it to my face than behind my back.
And I don't have to take any of them home.
That's right. Randy, Jay made a motion to hire an engineer for this for the project Bobcat. I seconded it. Excellent. And we're just waiting for you to get back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion passes to hire an engineer to review the Wayne County Department of Planning letter.
The next thing is American Rescue. You have the paper in front of you. As I said before, $162,825.24, of which we have spent so far to this point $77,836.89, leaving us $84,988.35. Our commitment to Tom Shepstone is for another probably $5,000 or $6,000. We haven't decided about the park. That's why I called Co-Stars to talk to the girl about what are the equipment places, and they suggested to buy equipment for the park. But that's only half the problem, buying the equipment. Then we have to hire somebody to install it.
Approved. So,
Right.
And
Not to interrupt you, Jane, but Jeff just texted me back. He said he'd be happy to do it. What do you kids about?
looks like you're gonna do it.
Jane is
I'll
happy
let him
to
know.
know that.
I'll let him know.
Yeah. Good. So anyway, now if we take that monies for the cameras and that and subtract it, if you want to write that down,
70,000.
$7,485 if you want to write that down.
$70,351 minus the cameras.
Wait, did you use
What is
this, I think, or is this what we had left? Is this what it was?
All
Minus-
expenses?
yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
think
just
so.
expenses.
And then, yeah, so we gotta take it off that number. But Jane, one question I had, the UGI Legion, I think the total bill on that was just for UGI.
Yeah, the total bill, it's back in my suitcase, it's about $5,000 more. So about $5,000 to them and about $3,000 to $5,000 for Shepstone is committed. So let's say that's $10,000 out of this 84.
Okay.
67,503.
Yeah.
That's with the cameras, and then the company we hired to install the furnace.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fast.
So you probably don't believe this, but I'm done.
What did you say it was, Shelley, 60 what?
67,503.35.
503.35. But the matching, the grant, if we don't get that grant, I mean, I hope we do, but if we don't, the 35,000, that's just held in escrow right now, right?
That's held in escrow, and I think we will know by December whether it's a go for Bob Wilson.
That's for the big $700,000 grant,
Yeah.
right, for the field?
And we'll know if we don't get it, we have to face the reality that we gotta start over.
I mean, if the 35 is not actually in an escrow account, right? It's in our general fund.
It's in the general fund, and we already have the money,
Mhm.
so it isn't.
Okay.
That they wanted 35,000 to make it 250,000 the first grant.
Yes.
We had 215,000, and then they said that they would match another up to 250,000, so we added the 35,000 to make it a match. And I'm gonna work with the firemen about a grant I think they should go after for the fire company. And about the ordinances, I talked to Tim Stone, and he said that It's all gonna be straightened up and finished by the end of the year, so, which is maybe another month now, you know. So, and then we're gonna have to probably have a couple special meetings to adopt the new things, depending on how many ordinances we have to. We might have 25 ordinances, but we have to add a paragraph or delete something, or.
He's taking our consistent, or.
He has all our ordinances.
Okay, and then adding to.
Adding and bringing them up to date.
Mhm.
And also making sure, because the police had mentioned to me, and they were right, that some of the ordinances did not stipulate who was supposed to enforce the ordinances.
Mhm.
So many of the ordinances are now going to say that they will be enforced by either a named enforcement officer or by a police officer. And it already will be in there.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jane.
So then we won't specifically have to have a code enforcement person.
No,
We can have a PD.
yes.
Okay, that's.
For some of the ordinances, we
Right.
have, but that's something we can decide at the time, you know.
Yeah.
There's some things that obviously the police really
Should handle.
shouldn't handle,
Sure.
you know.
Yep. Okay.
That it?
Hallelujah.
Unfinished business? Your papers?
Well, of course, we didn't have the buildings washed, and we didn't have a lot of things done that, you know. Is it too late to do any paving?
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, the asphalt plants will be open until probably Christmas.
Well, I think that little parking lot should be done at the ambulance building. Would you measure that and see how many square feet that is?
Yeah, I can get some foam floats.
And I think it's too late to paint, right, to paint the two buildings? The garage and the,
I would think so. Yeah.
Ambulance building?
see, and that's,
Ambulance
and
building?
Yeah.
it has to, they're metal buildings,
Yeah.
so you're not talking about regular paint.
Yeah, they probably have to pressure wash it, clean it.
Yeah,
I was on Main Street, Huntsville, about 10 years ago, and they were painting Heslings in December.
Would've been cute.
Oh, yeah?
were they really?
And the guy was on the ladder, and I said, "Isn't it a little late to be painting?" He goes, "Yeah, that's why none of the buildings in Alaska are painted."
They said they
Making
wouldn't-
fun of
they would never-
Oh,
Why not? Valid,
So I
valid.
think you could actually paint, as long as it's not freezing, I think you could paint.
Yeah. Okay.
there is, I don't know if you noticed at the historical site, some of you have never been in the historical site, I'm not gonna point you out.
Wasn't me.
And the handicap ramp was just done by Bob Wilson from Homestead. What a great job he did, fantastic job. He could be considered this one person, and I could talk to him and ask him if they still would do metal buildings. I wonder if temperature, do you think temperature would affect with a metal building to paint it?
I don't,
Usually
as long as it's
you
not
don't wanna-
freezing, I don't know why.
You don't want to
You're a
paint the
painter.
exterior if
What?
it's gonna drop below freezing at night.
Yeah.
If it's gonna drop below freezing at night,
So, well, like tonight, it's supposed to drop down to freezing.
You would want at least 2 or 3 days of decent
Right.
weather.
Okay,
at
So
night
we
as well,
put that
because
off
the paint
this-
won't cure and then it'll start to flake off.
okay, should we put it off to spring and those two buildings?
Is D. Howell Painting interested in a quote?
Painting with a G, because that's what was.
Should have had the prisoners do it when they offered.
Yeah.
I know,
Should have went and bought the paint. Would have saved some money.
well, we wanted to.
It should be at least 50 degrees when you're applying the paint. It shouldn't drop below 32 at night for several days after.
Thank you, Google.
So my name's Darren.
Through your voice.
I wonder if Darren put in a bid, could he do it? Because he's on council?
Are we gonna put it out for everybody, or is it just gonna be him?
No.
Probably the best if we put it out to a few people.
Yeah.
But it's not
Be
really
aware what those bids are.
He's not really, I
Yeah,
don't think he's.
it's
That's
not
what
really
anymore.
Okay, no unfinished business.
What about
Oh.
zoning and stuff? We got the email from
Well,
them.
that, the one I sent you,
Oh,
Yeah. What's,
yeah, I guess that would be unfinished business. So let's start.
I'll go to the dinner, the luncheon in anybody else going to luncheon?
I don't know.
See, it's during the day.
This, the Innovator of the Year award luncheon.
Yeah. Next Friday, right?
Yes,
What time is that, Heather?
it's noon.
It's that
$45 a person at Settlers.
She sent this, I wasn't getting about that.
Yeah, the right to know officer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
that guy,
yes,
yeah.
that guy.
Okay. I'm sure Jane can fill us in on that.
Well, the right to know officer has to answer the questions, and whether it could be from the ordinance, from the minutes, from any action we take here tonight or any other night. And it has to be somebody very well acquainted with everything that we have. And I positively will not do it.
Any takers?
Can they sue us if we, the right to know?
Anybody can sue us. I don't know if they would in that situation.
Fine you, and then they fine you, and then they post your name on their website, and you can respond.
I think you can post our name anytime, but how much would they fine us?
I don't know.
Where's the fine coming
If anybody requests information from the borough,
State,
from? I mean, violation of Sunshine Act can actually be a criminal charge.
the right to know officer.
So, when in doubt, head above board. And you'll get like a $50 fine, because I
Look it up.
issued one
Jane,
once.
Jane, could you kind of touch on exactly, what is the right to know? It's,
So like for instance, somebody might say, like this accident, we use this accident out here in Route 6, that
oh.
they've been sending us all the stuff, I've been forwarding it to the chief, where somebody was driving up Route 6, somebody comes out the side road, and people on the side road claim that the person on Route 6 hit them, and of course, you're responsible. So now they go after us, they go after the fire company, they go after everybody, and they want us to tell them exactly. In fact, the person there said that our sign obstructed their view. And of course, I went right down, took pictures, and sent it to this person who was doing the work. And our sign is about this big, and it isn't our sign anyway, it's the eye doctor sign. And when you pull off from the side intersection, the problem is they ask you everything. They ask you what state laws have to do with Route 6, and also our laws about driving in the borough. And so if they come back on you, they can ask you 100 questions, and this person has to find them. They might ask from our meeting, they might ask, oh, you made a motion a few months ago, to buy something, and you didn't consider me, or you didn't consider my bid, and so forth, and they could come back and say, I want a copy of your minutes, I want a copy of any of the correspondence you might have. It's a pain in the keister.
yeah, there's a lot of training that goes into
I
that
know.
too, because there's certain information that you aren't allowed to give them. They may ask for
Right?
it, but you have to find out what you're allowed to give and what you're not allowed to give.
When they passed that, it was a blow to the boroughs and to the townships. Because they come after you, and they want to know, and they use the shotgun approach. They want to know everything about everything. And it's a pain job.
Okay, well, maybe we can table that for now until Mr. President and Donnie Miller gets back, and
Let's name one of them to do it.
not a bad idea.
Well, this is talking about code compliance. And this is what Anthony said. He said that it would require that he can't answer. It takes an RTK officer. So, but they're asking about code compliance, and they're asking about unpaid fines, sewer, trash.
Anything.
Did they fill out
So
the
it's a couple
form?
different pages.
Did they fill out the
I don't know.
form?
I forwarded it a couple of times to Anthony from NEIC, And the final thing was that he bounced it back and said, we would need an RTK.
And they all bounce it back. They bounce it back to the borough, and then we have to answer it.
The second page.
And the
is
thing
actually
is,
the
you
beginning
put
of it.
yourself in a position, what if you answer it wrong and they find out something that you didn't notice or didn't put in there? That's why I would never take the job.
Or you put something in there that shouldn't have.
That shouldn't have been in there, and they could come back on you then.
You're not selling this really well.
Really?
No. It has to be
You have
council
to have
member.
one.
No, it doesn't have to be a council member.
Oh.
You have to have one.
Have to advertise.
No, you have to have a right to know officer.
You have
It
to
seems
have
like
the
you
right
need to have a
know.
lot of knowledge, though. It doesn't seem like
You know,
anybody
you have to have
can
a-
say.
I'm definitely out there.
So
Yeah.
how long have you, or has this been a thing?
Not very long.
So who was the RT?
Kathy Millard was our right to know officer when she was secretary.
But she even said at the time, what a pain in the arse that she had to answer. And she said, thank God they didn't come back and say, you didn't answer this, you didn't add this, you didn't. As I said, it's a shotgun approach. They just want to know everything about everything.
And you have 30 days to answer it.
As a typical solicitor.
We have an extension.
30 days to
The
answer
time to
everything,
fill
or
out-
30 days to reply?
30 days
To reply.
Oh, there's a,
You get 30 day extend.
what's there, a request?
It's 10
form?
days to respond, but you can fill out a 30-day extension.
Oh, wow.
And that's a pain too, 10 days, because like we meet once a month.
Yeah, right. So they have an official form, the borough has to have official right to know form? Oh, okay. Or is it just a generic for Pennsylvania? And they can
Oh,
just
yeah,
jot.
it's just a generic for Pennsylvania, but they'll fill out.
Shelley, you seem to know quite a bit about
I just know the financial end, I don't know any of that.
That's the only end that matters, so.
It's just like, we have a couple months missing of, we don't even have in the minute book for a couple months. What if they come back and ask a question about a meeting we had that was never recorded and put in a book?
So this is a request just for 14 Evergreen Street, Waymart,
Yes.
Pennsylvania, because apparently they're doing a closing for the building?
Yes,
And they
sir.
want to know if there's any open liens, code violations, permits,
And I
any
did,
unpaid water, sewer, or trash, certificate of occupancy, and any inspection requirement details.
Don't they usually go to the courthouse for
Yeah, they would come to.
no, I answered and said that there was no code violations in Waymart, because I know that. Well, that's all I answered. I said you have to.
I think what would happen is,
Sewage.
if you answered this and said there's no open code violations, there's no permits that need to be closed out, there's no unpaid fines, fees, or tickets that do not appear in the taxes, and that we don't know about the water and sewer because that's not our, that goes to the authority.
That's what I told them, and that's how.
The trash, and if we answer that, certificate of occupancy, and if we find out that there is one, we just have to eat it, that's all, and waive it. So this is not a big deal.
Okay. They have come back and called me on the phone on this too. And they're very upset that we sent that letter, Debbie sent that letter, remember, about Mr. Boots' stuff going down on Evergreen Street. You realize his whole backyard, I asked you to drive Maple Street. I'm asking you to drive Maple Street and then drive Evergreen Street. And all that stuff that is a #1 junkyard comes right down to Evergreen Street next to this place that these people want to buy. And they want us to move forward. She sent the letter. What have we done since then? I don't want to be a prophet of doom.
Yeah, but how do we enforce it? I mean, is that a police department enforcement? I don't know the codes, I'm just asking.
The junkyard, it's under state law and local law, both, the requirements for a junkyard. And of course, in that district, a junkyard's not allowed. But you know what? And I blame the past councils, because I brought this up over the last 10 years. And now, wait till you see it there. Besides that, there's an abandoned house on that street. And then at the end, the new solicitor did all that work, put a sign out.
New attorney.
Attorney. The attorney did it and didn't even apply for a permit. So what is this saying to all of us?
We have room for
So
improvement. That's what it's saying.
Evergreen Street is across from my parents' house.
Yes.
Yes.
And I drove down to the end, the house at the end. Remember the lady that used to own the
Flower shop.
flower shop?
I don't know.
I drove around it,
Isn't doing code
and the weeds are
enforcement.
like 5,
That's
6
what they were
feet
really
tall.
basically hired for.
But the worst thing is that Mr. Boots' stuff comes right down to it.
Who's Boots, though?
Joseph
NAIC
Boots,
should be
he's
able to
on,
do that.
he's on Maple Street.
Next street down.
14 Evergreen Street is at a dead end all by itself
Right.
out in the middle of the woods.
Right. Yeah, go down there and drive around the
That's
house like I
Aaron's
did.
old house, right? The flower girl. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Deborah Argana owns it now.
And she says that he, her husband, or whatever he is, nowadays you can't even say husband, that he, guess what, works for 3 or 4 towns as a zoning officer. And I'd love to have him move it to Waymart.
You can see an RTK office.
So we go on a hunt for an RTK officer. Table it for now.
Looks like a lot of stuff out here, a lot of garbage. Is there a junk car in there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's so much junk there, you won't believe it. Drive down that street.
Well, who enforces that then?
We're supposed
Well,
to.
NAIC now, that's.
But he's never even, he has no idea where Maple Street is. I tried to meet with him here when he's here at the building. I haven't yet to, I go by this building 20 times a day, and I've yet to meet him. To sit down with him
Well,
and
he's gonna know
say,
where Maple Street is, because he's gonna call him, because he's talking to him about other stuff.
The
Our
retainer
building.
fees. Yep. Invite next meeting.
I will say this, I don't think anybody could see his yard. 14 Evergreen certainly can't see it. What's in his yard? Doesn't look like anybody can with all the trees in there.
well, then you go drive it and you'll see it's different. Because it comes right down to right to the road,
Which road? Evergreen?
Evergreen. It goes from Maple Street to Evergreen.
Okay.
You know who complained about it all the time before was Jag Farley's daughter. Remember Courtney Ormond?
Courtney.
She wanted us to clean it up then, and
Well, yeah.
shame on us, we didn't do it.
Well, it's kind of your role,
No.
okay? Enforce your ordinances. Have somebody to enforce your ordinances.
The problem is, see, now the ordinances are being brought up to date. So I can't, I know what the ordinance is, but I can't refer to it because of the fact that they're being brought up to date, and maybe we could say we're enforcing this ordinance, and then next month it'll be changed. That's,
So then we enforce the new one, which I'm sure will be similar.
So why can't we send a PD over there?
it might be the same ordinance, because they might not even have any change, on that kind of ordinance.
I mean, there's ordinances for
Junkyard is
shape,
junkyard.
for your sidewalk not being,
Yeah,
There's
not being shoveled and all that.
I mean, that's been enforced. So say people that enforce that need to
Exactly.
step up.
So Chip, can we send a PD over there
It's not their job.
to enforce the ordinances?
It's not their job until they get the ordinance all updated, and then tells who enforces it, just like Jane said.
See, the way that it is now, a lot of these ordinances don't say now who's supposed to enforce it.
They're gone now.
Shame on us.
PD, baby.
We tried to address this over the last 12 years, and we kept putting it on the back burner, and we didn't do it.
Jimmy Bridges, when he was here as zoning officer, he enforced it.
Yes,
Grass, the snow, he was good.
he was good.
And if he had a problem, the police officer went with him.
2023 is a brand new year.
So we gotta hold off until we get new ordinances.
Well,
This is
that's
gonna
up
be-
to you.
that's
I
fine,
don't know.
right?
23
I can cite you what ordinance it is, but
Well, let's enforce what we got. I mean, there's not a moratorium on our rules, on our laws.
well, what if it doesn't say who enforces it?
You hire a constable? I don't know, I'm asking.
I don't know.
We send a
Why don't
constable?
one of you become a constable, Waymart? Would you like to?
Wasn't everybody under the impression this company we hired was supposed to do this?
Well, I thought they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here we are paying them 600 and 400. What are we getting from them?
That's why I said, where's his report every month to us, what he's doing?
He's gonna clear that up, so
No.
he'll bring that up, we'll see what happens, and maybe email us with, updates, and then we'll just have a mind meld.
Like when he says, you know, in that report, that you said that he issued a, what was it? A permit,
Permit, or zoning hours.
and never tells us who he issued the permit to. How are we supposed
So
to?
more of an itemized bill.
You have, like, I mean,
Okay.
take a look at
But he
this.
just doesn't say anything,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know who he's talking about.
Specifics. Okay. Okay.
Things are becoming much more complicated.
Sure is. Okay, new business?
When are we gonna do the,
Right to know. I think we'll wait for Mr. President to come back and Donnie Miller. I think we all need to ask some people maybe some people that have been in town for a while and maybe might be interested in being a right to know officer. If none of council is interested, and it certainly doesn't seem like it, so.
And that's a non-paid position.
A non-paid?
Yeah.
So it's even easier to sell.
Yeah.
are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a little hint of sarcasm there.
Think about the good work you're doing for the town.
Shall I get my symbols out?
So we need to go on a hunt for a right to know officer.
Good luck.
Our next problem though is the budget, because it has to be passed before the end of December.
You have a couple other things.
Yeah, so I had thought about a 3 to 5 minute time frame on everyone speaking, council members. So I'd like some input on it, and you don't have to vote on it now. If you want to, great.
And just one thing I wrote, it says 3 to 5 minute time frame for all discussions. So is that for individuals to speak, or that's just total on discussions on the?
No, individuals,
Okay.
I think, right?
I would think for individuals.
Yeah. Okay.
For public,
Give them time.
For both, borough, council members, all, anyone who comes to the meeting.
Then if you turn it over, we're telling people tonight, limit your comments to 2 minutes.
So they're going to gain a minute or 3 tonight.
Well, like, for instance, when you're talking about the road, you can do it in 3 minutes?
Sure. I know there's other towns and boroughs that limit everyone's speaking.
I didn't know they limited people on council.
I didn't think you were allowed to.
I didn't think you
Oh,
were
that's-
either.
I think you could limit how long somebody can speak to a reasonable amount. Otherwise, somebody can stand here and
Holmesdale Borough is 5 minutes.
have to throw the
Council
keys on the line.
I know it's for public.
I know, it's not for council members, I know.
that's what I said,
No.
I'm confused.
McAllister I talk to all the time, because I
Yeah,
always
he's
voted on all
fine,
the lights in Holmesdale that are out. Talk about us not doing anything. You go from one end of Holmesdale to the other, and there's 12 lights up. And they're paying for
All right, so that's the 3 to 5 minutes, that's for the public, not the main, not the council members, right?
Well, I think it's just
No, I
gotta be
think
one
he
number.
needs-
That
Yeah.
Putting
What
in
is
a
that
minimum,
reference?
and they have to speak 3 minutes, but no more than 5 minutes. So I think you just have to give one number.
I was just throwing some numbers out
You
there.
just
throw
longer
For the
than
public.
that amount
For
for the
discussion.
public.
Okay, so limit the public's discussion to 3 minutes?
If you wanna do 5 minutes, if somebody has something important. they
Go
want to
halfway,
say.
make it 4.
Sure.
Yeah.
5 sounds fine.
5 is great.
And that's for public.
Correct.
Public
5
discussions.
minutes.
Discussions by the public.
So we'll cross out the 2 minutes in the back.
Mm.
By the public.
Underline foul language.
I would change that to 5 minutes.
We want a clean meeting.
I think
You also have a letter I gave you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think you have to vote on that.
Yeah, we should make a motion on that. Any takers on the motion?
Come on, Jay.
I don't even at this point know what the motion is.
All right, I'll make the motion, you say. I make a motion that we limit the public's comments to 5 minutes in a meeting.
Well, like I would second it, but I'd like to point out in the discussion that like when the man from Bobcat last month, he was more than 5 minutes. I mean, how do you get people to explain something?
It's never really been an issue here where somebody's trying to get up and just speak forever, right? Filibuster. Or bore us to death. I mean, is it an issue? Do we have to put a deadline on?
Don't look at me.
I don't know, I'm just looking for open discussion and some thoughts and concerns. If there is none, we'll skip over it, and I'll read this letter. So are we gonna finish this motion or not? No?
I seconded it.
You did?
Yeah.
Craig made a motion to add a 5-minute time limit on public speaking. Jane seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Nays. Motion passes. Next, we got a letter. Waymart Borough Council to Donnie McDonough. Dear President McDonough, the Waymart Area Authority is requesting your consideration to reappoint Edwin Rock to the Waymart Area Authority Board for a 5-year period beginning January 2023. Truly yours, Kenneth Williams, Chairman.
I would like to put this off for another month. I would like to know why they are objecting to us to put the shed in.
Oh, they are.
They said, oh, we're too close to the creek. Well, I'd like to point out Aldenville is much closer to the creek than we are. They're using that as an excuse.
Who said we're too close to the creek?
The authority. I went to their meeting.
What are they, code enforcement officers now?
There's a law, you can't put any buildings, you gotta be 150 foot away.
Yeah, well,
Creek or stream.
Aldenville isn't.
How long ago was that?
That was
And not only that, Canaan Township right up here on Canyon Road. They're closer than 150 feet from the creek. That goes through Waymart.
Depends on when they put it.
Is it the authority that's stopping here, or is it DEP or conservation? Because it sounds more like
I don't
conservation.
know.
DEP.
I'd like to make a note on that. I'm on the committee,
Right?
On the authority?
on the authority. We did not turn down the material shed, okay? Jane, we didn't say no.
What was that motion you made? The whole one we agreed to, that's why I went to your meeting.
Yeah,
They did rescind that motion.
but they're still waiting for engineers and this and that, and where it's going, okay?
Okay.
Still haven't received a building plan. All we were given was a square, say this is where it's gonna go. But they did not say no.
Okay, all right.
Okay?
Thank you for correcting me on that, because I was very discouraged.
No, and we're meeting the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we have a motion for Edwin Rock?
See, somebody's already been on, it says reassigned, is he already there?
He's been on there. It's just every 3 or 4 years, they're spaced 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. He
I made a motion.
He represents Canaan Township. We have 2 Canaan Townships.
Darren made a motion, Craig seconded it, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Nays, motion passes to reappoint Edwin Rock to the Waymart Area Authority Board for 5 years.
Act limiting Office of Open Records of Pennsylvania encourages agencies to take care when imposing time limits on public comment. 3 minutes is a common limit and maybe more than enough for most public.
So,
If you want to do it,
So we're generous.
okay at 3 minutes.
We're generous here. We're
We're ahead.
So, under new business, we also have the budget, so does anyone read
I don't
through
know, I
it?
got it in there.
Fair enough?
Election night.
How about next
Fair
week?
enough?
It'll take at least an hour to read it, because you have to read every line.
Sounds good. We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute, what's the date?
Can we pick it?
Oh.
You gotta have a date.
We have to advertise it.
I
You
know,
have
that's
to
why we're
advertise
not-
it, so we gotta, if you're gonna do it like next Tuesday, then you've gotta immediately
That's
advertise it.
Thanksgiving right there. So we really gotta do it next week, because the following is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
We
like
have
the
to, that
15th.
is,
Well, the Thanksgiving is Thursday though.
Next,
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Next
That's what I'm
Tuesday is
saying,
the
next week
15th.
We really should do it,
Right.
if everybody's up for it.
We don't have to do it on a Tuesday.
We could do it on Monday.
I know, it's,
I can't do it Monday.
Yeah?
It's only board meeting,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
How about Thursday?
17th.
Oh,
It's
I
Saturday
definitely
night.
can't do Thursday.
I can babysit for you.
I know. Well, Thursday's karate and singing lessons, so I do that at night, so.
You take karate hours, you good?
Yeah, I'm really good.
All
I
the same
can
time.
sing karate.
Why do you think that's
Next
the
Tuesday?
Tuesday's good for me.
15th or 16th, Tuesday, 15th, or Wednesday,
Tuesday, right?
16th.
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Tuesday good for you?
Okay.
Tuesday good for you?
Put it in our calendars.
Yes?
What do you mean, have a special meeting?
Yeah,
For
to
the
have
budget.
a
For the
special
budget.
meeting. It's
Early, late?
You
What
always-
time?
Earlier, later?
You always wanna advertise it. special
Earlier or
meetings.
later?
6:30.
Same time, I mean,
Yeah, let's keep it consistent.
Okay.
That's the reason you're right,
So
consistent.
11:15.
All right, I will contact.
What day is it now?
The
Yep.
15th,
6:30
6:30.
You get a reminder email.
I will send one out to you if you want me to.
If you don't mind.
Darren, your email is,
Oh, yeah, what's yours?
We fixed it, yeah, it was missing the G.
yeah, that's,
Oh.
that's,
Okay.
It just was, I thought he was just being cool.
Well, anything else under new business?
And, yeah, just one thing. An agency shall give public notice of each special meeting or each rescheduled regular or special meeting at least 24 hours in advance of the time of the convening of the meeting specified in the notice. Public notice is not required in the case of an emergency meeting.
so once is enough.
That's what it says,
So you
yeah.
don't have to make it?
Are you gonna do it?
Yes, I'll do it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was easy
You're gonna
enough.
deal with Peggy.
Yeah,
She's wonderful. Oh.
It was easy enough. So you have to do another announcement, is what you're saying, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Chris?
the special meeting, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you
And
do.
always say, and general business, no matter what the special meeting is, so if something comes up,
Budget and general business. Okay.
because we've had that happen in the past, that something came up that we needed to address immediately.
Anything else?
I just need a check or a camera deposit, 50%. You signing checks tonight? Must be.
No, I'm not authorized.
No, actually,
Who's gonna sign the check?
Jerry is the last one on the check signing, which is no longer here.
Right.
Heather is just reappointed, or hired, so we need the board minutes to send down to the bank to get you on there to get signature cards signed, and Donnie's the only other one, and me. So,
I don't know if there's ever been a board minute of my position though. That was went to executive session.
I think you're right. I think you need a motion to authorize it. Somebody should make that motion.
So there's no, tired motions or anything. So the only ones who can sign checks are you,
me, Donnie, and the secretary.
But
the
not
checks
me.
that have 2 signatures?
Yes.
Not me right now.
So,
Alright,
your checks, unfortunately, I have to get a second signature. I signed off on them, so,
You want me to take them to Donnie?
can you?
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Mhm.
All right.
And I'll just bring them back here.
Can you put them in my mailbox
Sure.
and maybe by tomorrow morning?
Okay.
And then
I'll
I
call
can
Donna.
let you guys know that your checks are here. Thank you.
Well, maybe he will be available.
But we need one for Craig. Yeah, I'll call
You
him.
know what?
it's all in the mailbox.
I have 3 blank ones, so when I get it back from you, I'll print the
Okay.
check out and I'll give it to you. Does that work?
Yeah.
All right. And then the 2
I'll
additions
call
that
Joe.
I have 2 blank checks in
Mhm.
there for that. So I have 3 blank checks.
Oh, and we need a motion.
And should we add the vice president on there or not?
No.
No, you don't need too many people on, but you're gonna have Heather on.
Mhm.
So what do you needs to make a motion.
Make a motion to add
After
Heather.
the motion, she can sign.
If worse came to worse, only one
Okay.
person could sign it then?
No, it needs
No,
two
always ask,
signatures.
always say
Well,
it's how to.
Will the
That's
bank
fine.
recognize it though? Because we still have to.
Well, it depends how quick Heather does the minutes and get them over to the bank.
As long against these signed tonight, we're in good shape, you know, and then with Heather, well, you have to make the motion, you have to make the motion to hire her. She has to get the board minutes approved, written up, and then sent to the bank, so they can do a new signature card for her. And then we'll all be okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we need a motion to allow Heather to sign borough checks under
We
new
need to hire
business.
her first.
We have to hire her.
Oh, we make a motion to, we need a motion to hire Heather.
I make a motion to hire Heather, I was gonna say Offner, Hess, and, I give her authority to sign the checks.
Jane made a motion?
I'll second.
And remove Geraldine Normal.
Oh, okay.
And sign the checks in addition to another member, either the president
That's an additional
or the
sign.
treasurer. Yes, as an additional signer, not individual.
Are you okay with that?
Then
Yeah,
we
that's
got
pretty
two
motion,
signatures
just add
on
where
the
she
check.
can sign.
So Heather, you got the motion?
The motion was made by Jane, I believe, seconded by
Randy?
Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion passes. Anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn. 16.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Motion passes. Have more for you. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Yeah, I'll call down.
Yeah.
I'll go clean that out. Did we send James?
What, Jane?